It was a moonless night, the kind that sends shivers down your spine. The wind whispered through the trees, creating an eerie symphony of rustling leaves. I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles white, as I navigated the notorious Blackwood Highway. This desolate stretch of road was infamous for its strange happenings and ghostly encounters. Most people avoided it after sunset, but I had no choice. I needed to reach my destination, and it meant driving through this ominous corridor. As I sped down the winding road, a pair of blinding headlights appeared in my rear-view mirror. The car behind me seemed to come out of nowhere, its high beams relentlessly piercing through the darkness. My heart raced as I tried to maintain control of my vehicle. I could feel the anxiety building with each passing mile. The mysterious car followed my every move, its presence oppressive and unrelenting. I couldn't see the driver's face, but the feeling of malevolence hung in the air. No matter how fast I drove or how many twists and turns I took, it stayed right on my tail. My phone displayed no service, and I knew I was on my own. Panic gripped me as I pondered my options. My mind raced, and I considered pulling over, but something told me that would be a fatal mistake. The sinister car had no intentions of letting me go. Then, as I rounded a sharp bend, I saw her, a woman standing by the side of the road, her clothes tattered, hair wild, and eyes filled with desperation. She waved frantically, and my heart ached with sympathy. Without thinking, I pulled over, the mysterious car still looming behind me. She stumbled towards my car, gasping for breath, and frantically told me her story. Her car had broken down, and she had been chased by the same sinister vehicle that had been pursuing me. She begged me for help, and I couldn't leave her there. I hurriedly ushered her into my car, and we sped away from the menacing pursuer. As we raced down the highway, I glanced in the rearview mirror, but the ominous car had vanished into the night. We finally reached a gas station a few miles ahead, and the woman thanked me profusely, promising to repay my kindness. But as I turned to speak to her, she was gone. My heart pounded, and I realized there was something deeply wrong with the events of that night. A local trucker at the gas station confirmed my fears. He had seen the same woman on the highway years ago, always pursued by the same sinister car. She had died in an accident, but her spirit continued to haunt the Blackwood Highway, luring unsuspecting drivers into danger. The advice from this chilling encounter was clear: never stop for the distressed woman on the Blackwood Highway. She was no innocent victim, but a malevolent spirit, using her haunting beauty to trap those who dared to help. And that night, I narrowly escaped her sinister grasp. As I drove away from the gas station, a chilling thought haunted me. The woman's warning echoed in my mind, and I couldn't help but wonder, who was the real danger on the Blackwood Highway? The mysterious car or the vengeful spirit that beckoned to unsuspecting travelers? The answers remained as elusive as the darkness that enveloped that cursed road. I had always been drawn to the thrill of uncharted roads, the kind less traveled by others. It was on one such night that I found myself navigating a desolate stretch of highway, miles away from civilization. The moon hung low, casting eerie shadows across the asphalt, and the only sound was the whispering wind. As I cruised down this forlorn path, the isolation was palpable. The darkness seemed to close in around me, creating a cocoon of solitude. The road stretched on endlessly, and I couldn't help but wonder if I had made a grave mistake. But the anticipation of what lay ahead kept my foot on the gas pedal. Then, in the distance, I saw a dim glimmer of hope, the faint glow of taillights. As I approached, I noticed an abandoned car parked haphazardly on the side of the road. My heart raced as I pulled up behind it. I couldn't see anyone inside, but the situation sent a shiver down my spine. My curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to investigate. I cautiously stepped out of my vehicle, the crisp night air raising goosebumps on my skin. As I got closer to the forsaken car, I noticed a cryptic message smeared across the driver's side window in what appeared to be blood. "They're coming!" I recoiled in horror. The message felt like an omen, a warning of something far more sinister. My mind raced with the possibilities, but I couldn't just leave without knowing more. I carefully peered inside the car and found it empty, with no sign of the driver. Just as I began to retreat, I heard a faint whisper, like a desperate plea for help. It was coming from the nearby woods. My instincts took over and I ventured into the darkness. A chilling mist enveloped me as I entered the forest. The whispering grew louder, guiding me deeper into the unknown. Then I saw her, a young woman disheveled and terrified, crouched beside a tree. I approached cautiously, offering my help. She explained that she had been driving alone when her car had suddenly died. She claimed to have seen a group of figures lurking in the shadows before her car stalled. They had vanished into the night, but the terror remained. With a heavy heart, I offered her a ride, knowing she needed to escape this desolation. As she stepped into my car, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong, but I pushed my unease aside and began the journey back to civilization. The eerie silence filled the car, and the girl remained on edge. I tried to make small talk, but she offered only brief, cryptic responses. As we approached a gas station, she finally spoke up. "Thank you for helping me," she said, her voice trembling. "But you need to know something. Those figures, they're not human. They're something far more sinister. And now that you've helped me, they'll be coming for you." Suddenly, she lunged at me, her eyes now filled with an otherworldly malevolence. I swerved to the side of the road, narrowly avoiding a collision. She disappeared into the night, leaving me shaken and bewildered. I realized then that I had encountered something beyond my comprehension. As I drove away, my mind raced with the terrifying possibilities of what I had witnessed. The eerie happenings on that remote road have haunted me ever since. My advice to you, dear listener, is to be cautious on the less traveled paths, for there are forces in this world that are best left unencountered. And remember, when you offer help to a stranger in the dead of night, be prepared for the chilling unknown that may lie beneath their desperate pleas. I was on the night shift, rolling down a desolate stretch of I-10, the engine's steady rumble and the soft hum of the tires my only companions. The black highway stretched ahead like an endless abyss. In the distance, the stars sparkled, the only source of light in this forsaken landscape. It was just another routine drive for me, a seasoned trucker who'd seen it all. The silence was broken by the distant flicker of a car's hazard lights. I eased off the gas, my rig slowing as I approached the stranded vehicle. My headlights revealed an old sedan, its paint peeling and windows shattered. As I pulled over, I noticed the open trunk, empty suitcases strewn across the ground. Stepping out of my cab, I cautiously approached the car, my hand resting on the tire iron I kept for self-defense. "Hey there, you okay?" I called out. There was no response. I drew closer, my heart pounding, and peered into the car. The driver's seat was empty, the engine still running. My eyes darted around, searching for any sign of life. That's when I heard a rustling in the bushes nearby. I retreated to my truck, every nerve on edge. I wasn't here to play the hero, but my instincts told me something was terribly wrong. Just as I reached the cab, a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. A man, disheveled and wild-eyed, staggered toward me. "Please, you gotta help me," he cried, his voice trembling. I backed up, not wanting to get too close. "What happened? Where's the driver of that car?" The man's face contorted in anguish. "He's gone. They took him, and they'll take me too, if we don't get out of here." My grip tightened on the tire iron as fear coursed through me. Who took him? They call themselves the Nightmarers. They hide in the darkness, waiting for lone travelers like us. They robbed him and dragged him into the woods. I glanced at the inky forest beyond, shivers running down my spine. The Nightmarers were a legend, whispered among truckers. Stories of highway bandits who terrorized this very stretch of road. Now it seemed I'd stumbled into their clutches. The man continued, "We have to get out of here now, they're coming." Without thinking, I started my rig and revved the engine. The sedan's owner leapt into the cab, and we sped away from the scene. I could see their faint silhouettes in my rearview mirror emerging from the woods, their eyes reflecting the truck's taillights like malevolent fireflies. We raced down the highway, but the Nightmarers were relentless, their battered vehicles closing in on us. They bumped our trailer, sending us swerving dangerously. I had no choice but to pull over. We were surrounded, trapped. The Nightmarers emerged from their vehicles, their faces hidden behind grotesque masks. It was clear they meant business. My heart hammered in my chest as I contemplated our doomed fate. But then, a burst of gunfire erupted. A group of law enforcement officers had arrived just in time, the muzzle flashes from their weapons illuminating the darkness. The nightmares scattered into the night, disappearing into the woods. The officers helped us to safety, and the nightmare was over. As I looked back on that harrowing night, I couldn't help but wonder how many others had fallen victim to the nightmares. It was a chilling realization that evil could lurk in the most desolate places. The story is one I tell to fellow truckers, a warning about the dangers that can befall even the most seasoned drivers. Stay safe on the road, be vigilant, and never underestimate the darkness that can hide in the lonely stretches of I-10.